Magandang hapon sa ating mga kasaga o sa magandang gabi naman sa ibang bansa sa US o saan man sulok sa mundo. Magandang araw po. Nandito naman tayo para tatalakayin natin yung naguguluhan sa isang mga pangyayari sa ating bansa. Nandito si Atty. Trixie na mismo ang magtatalakay kung anong nangyayari sa ating bansa. Kung may demokrasya ba tayo o wala. Kasi ako din, naguguluhan din ako kasi dami nagpapalakad sa ating bansa yung sino-sino. Hindi gaya sa mga nakaraang admin, sila mismo talaga ang nagpapalakad, hindi sila nagpapadikta. Pero ngayon, parang dami tayong pangulo ngayon Ito ang tunay at totoong nangyayari sa ating bansa.
Pa ang ating Pangulo bilang leader ng ating bayan with a lot of good plans. Marami siyang na pag-aralan na tungkol dun sa mga problema ng bayan at nilahad niya ito dun sa kanyang zona number 1. Makikita natin dito na nirirespeto niya ang kalayaan magsalita at magbahayag. Pinuntirya niya ang presyo ng pagkain, tubig, kuryente at transportasyon. So ngayon, sa gitna ng maraming problema na nakikita natin, natural, i-expect ng isang leader na may mga aangal sa taong bayan. Ini-expect natin ang kritisismo. When things don't go well, kasalanan mo man o hindi, i-expect mo ang taong bayan ay magsasalita. Pero yung pagsasalita na yon, nakikita natin may opresyon na. Hindi na ito basta may napipikon, hindi ito simpleng bagay na may nagtatam.
Gusto kasi nila sila palaging tama Walang mag-criticize sa kanila. Gusto nila silang tama. Tapos kung may mag-criticize kanila, magpapile kagad sila ng kaso. Yan, anong ibig sabihin diyan? Martial law na tayo.
Po, dun sa isang sinabi mo, natural yan, tao yan Pero, makikita natin, may systematic oppression. Hindi na po ito basta-basta. Halimbawa, alam natin, may mga networks dyan na ini-endanger ang prangkisa. May mga na-detain. May mga natanggal sa trabaho. Gawa ng utos ng isang mataas na opisyales. Tapos, hindi lang yan nagbabayad ang gobyerno or at the very least, hindi nila sinasalungat yung balita na may mga trolls na binabayaran ng gobyerno para atakihin ang ordinaryong mamamayan na nais lamang magsalita at magpahayag ng kanilang damdamin at saloobin. Sa gitna ng mga krisis, may krisis tayo sa kuryente.
Wala.
Ay, sorry.
Okay, Atty. Trixie, mukhang nagkaroon ng interruption po sa inyong huling mga sinabi.
Yes, po.
Try natin again.
Okay na po.
Okay, go.
Okay. So, nakikita natin sa gitna, may krisis tayo sa kuryente. Hindi nila pinag-uusapan yan. Nagtaas ang presyo ng tubig. Nagtataas ang presyo ng pagkain. Sa gitna ng lahat ng ito, ang unang nilang naiisip, baguhin ang saligang batas at matahimikin ang ilang mga taong nagsasalita at nagpapahayag. Saan ka nakakita na gano'n ang reaksyon? Na imbis na atupagin ang solusyon sa mga problema na alam naman nila kung ano yung mga solusyon na yon, ay ang aatupagin ninyo yung kritisismo.
Yes.
Ang aatupagin, pagbabago sa saligang batas. Na hanggang ngayon, hindi nila ini-explain kung ano ang specifics nun. So, natural, magtatanong tayo, nakikita natin may mga government officials, nagpapabaya, sino bang in charge sa tubig?
Yes.
Sino bang in charge sa kuryente? Sino bang in charge sa deteriorating conditions ng ating environment? Marami tayong problema. Pero yung mga kalihim, parang wala tayong naririnig sa kanya. But the buck stops with the leader.
Exactly.
Kasi nasa leadership na yan. Kung ang mga tao mo hindi nagpo-perform, natural, magtatanong ang taong bayan, Mr. President, ano na? Pero anong nakukuha natin? Maswerte tayo kung deadma lang But instead, may oppression.
Yes.
Bakit ganon? May problema, pero you shoot the messenger. Now, hindi na, ito yung maganda pa niyan binigyan natin ng oras. Hindi po ito first 100 days. Hindi ito first 6 months. Patigidig na tayo, magdadalawang taon na. Pero anong nangyayari? Instead of more information, we get less. Instead of more service, we see less. Tapos, nape-play up pa yung leisure ng ating Pangulo.
Mm.
Concerts, parties. Can you blame the people if they are upset? Can you blame the people if they will criticize? But what are the reactions to blaming and criticism? Oppression. That's not how government works. Mayroon tayong guarantee ng free speech. Nakalagay sa saligang batas, no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech or of expression.
Tama.
Sinasabi dito,
Pero gusto ko rin like paano kahit mali ang ginagawa nila, gusto nila pinupuri palagi eh.
nililimitahan yung power ng gobyerno na limitahan ang ating kalayaan magsalita at magpahayag. Pero, imbis na respetuhin, imbis na i-uphold ang saligang batas pagdating sa ating kalayaang magsalita at magpahayag, nadidiminish pa. So what are we expected to do? Alam niyo ba na the right to free speech is a social valve? Nagre-release siya ng pressures. Siyempre, di ba, nagkakaroon ng
Correct.
social pressure. Sumampa ang ating Pangulo bilang leader ng ating bayan with a lot of good plans. Marami siyang na pag-aralan na tungkol dun sa mga problema ng bayan at nilahad niya ito dun sa kanyang zona number 1. Nakikita natin dito na nirirespeto niya ang kalayaan magsalita at magpahayag, pinuntiryan niya ang presyo ng pagkain, tubig, kuryente, at transportasyon. So ngayon, sa gitna ng maraming problema na nakikita natin, natural, i-expect ng isang leader na may mga aangal sa taong bayan.
Tama.
Ini-expect natin ang kritisismo. When things don't go well, kasalanan mo man o hindi, i-expect mo ang taong bayan ay magsasalita. Pero yung pagsasalita na yon, nakikita natin may opresyon na. Hindi na ito basta may napipikon, hindi ito simpleng bagay na may nagtatampo dun sa isang sinabi mo, natural yan, tao yan eh. Pero makikita natin may systematic oppression. Hindi na po ito basta-basta. Halimbawa, alam natin may mga networks dyan na ini-endanger ang prangkisa. May mga na-detain. May mga natanggal sa trabaho.
Tama.
Gawa ng utos ng isang mataas na opisyales. Tapos, hindi lang yan ha. Nagbabayad ang gobyerno or at the very least, hindi nila sinasalungat yung balita na may mga trolls na binabayaran ng gobyerno para atakihin ang ordinaryong mamamayan na nais lamang magsalita at magpahayag ng kanilang damdamin at saloobin. Sa gitna ng mga krisis, may krisis tayo sa kuryente.
Wala.
Sorry.
Okay, Attorney Trixie, mukhang nagkaroon ng interruption po sa inyong huling mga sinabi.
Yes po.
Try natin again.
Okay na po.
Okay, go.
Opo. Okay. So, nakikita natin sa gitna, may krisis tayo sa kuryente. Hindi nila pinag-uusapan yan. Nagtaas ang presyo ng tubig. Nagtataas ang presyo ng pagkain. Sa gitna ng lahat ng ito, ang unang nilang naiisip, baguhin ang saligang batas at matahimikin ang ilang mga taong nagsasalita at nagpapahayag. Saan ka nakakita na gano'n ang reaksyon? Na imbis na atupagin ang solusyon sa mga problema na alam naman nila kung ano yung mga solusyon na yon, ay ang aatupagin ninyo yung kritisismo.
Yes.
Ang aatupagin, pagbabago sa saligang batas. Na hanggang ngayon, hindi nila ini-explain kung ano ang specifics nun. So, natural, magtatanong tayo, nakikita natin may mga government officials, nagpapabaya, sino bang in charge sa tubig?
Yes.
Sino bang in charge sa kuryente? Sino bang in charge sa deteriorating conditions ng ating environment? Marami tayong problema. Pero yung mga kalihim, parang wala tayong naririnig sa kanya. But the buck stops with the leader.
Exactly.
Kasi nasa leadership na yan. Kung ang mga tao mo hindi nagpo-perform, natural, magtatanong ang taong bayan, Mr. President, ano na? Pero anong nakukuha natin? Maswerte tayo kung deadma lang eh. But instead, may oppression.
Yes.
Bakit ganon? May problema, pero you shoot the messenger. Now, hindi na, ito yung maganda pa niyan ha. Binigyan natin ng oras. Hindi po ito first 100 days. Hindi ito first 6 months. Patigidig na tayo, magdadalawang taon na. Pero anong nangyayari? Instead of more information, we get less. Instead of more service, we see less. Tapos, nape-play up pa yung leisure ng ating Pangulo. Concerts, parties. Can you blame the people if they are upset? Can you blame the people if they will criticize? But what are the reactions to blaming and criticism? Oppression. That's not how government works. Mayroon tayong guarantee ng free speech. Nakalagay sa saligang batas, no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech or of expression.
Tama.
Sinasabi dito, nililimitahan yung power ng gobyerno na limitahan ang ating kalayaan magsalita at magpahayag. Pero, imbis na respetuhin, imbis na i-uphold ang saligang batas pagdating sa ating kalayaang magsalita at magpahayag, nadidiminish pa. So what are we expected to do? Alam niyo ba na the right to free speech is a social valve? Nagre-release siya ng pressures. Siyempre, di ba, nagkakaroon ng
Correct.
social pressures, societal pressures. Poverty alone is one of the biggest pressures on society. So, binibigay ng saligang batas yung pagkakataon na maka-vent ang taong bayan. But instead of venting, you see threats. You see threats on removing franchises, removing hosts, trolls. You see accounts on social media getting taken down. And the worst part is, walang explanation.
Yeah.
Walang kakasama.
Yes, attorney.
Total
Right, Ma'am Lorraine.
Attorney
Thank you,
question.
Attorney Trixie. Thank you.
Attorney question. So, itong oppression that you're talking about right now, is this the first time that you're feeling it? Is this the first time that you're experiencing it?
Oh, definitely. Kasi kahit noon, matagal na tayong nag-activista. I was really proud of the Duterte administration. But before that, I was a government critic. And in all my years before that, under Noynoy, under Gloria, I was always a very active critic. But not once was I threatened with the loss of my livelihood
Yes.
for saying something.
Yes.
At
Yes.
kinakausap nila ako, sasabihin, bakit mo sinabi to? Bakit ganito? May mga ganon. May papadala sa akin na government official at sasabihin, alam mo, hindi naman yan yung intention ng gobyerno. Pero there was movement on their part. They would somehow address the criticism. Pero they would never tell me na tanggalin ka namin sa ganyan.
Attorney, so under PRRD, when I worked with him, the very clear understanding of PRRD that press freedom and freedom of expression is of utmost importance. These are rights above all other rights, freedoms above all other freedoms, because it will redound to the good of the country. No? So my question to you, attorney, in other words, the former president had a very deep understanding of what democracy is, and he was an astute chief executive. No, he didn't care what others said, but what the press said, he just kept on keeping on, 'di ba? So, maliwanag sa kanya, I'm here in government to serve the people, 'di ba? So, at saka wala siyang tinatago, 'di ba? So, ang tanong ko kasi dito, kasi itong nakikita ko ngayon, napakapraning ng administrasyon na ito at napaka-sensitive, no? Napaka-sensitive na simpleng dissent ay parang hindi nila kaya. So, does it mirror, what does it say? Does it say that the sitting president has no idea what it is like to be an executive? Is that what it means? That he has no idea what his job is? Is it a clear reading of what's going on right now?
Ganito yun, Doc.
Yeah.
If he doesn't know, he ought to know.
Yeah.
It is his mandate. The
Yes.
Supreme Court has already said, public officials cannot be onion skin.
Cannot.
Criticism is a vital part of democracy. Kaya nga demokrasya ito. Kasi may dynamic. Government must listen to the people because government gets its power from the people. The entire mandate of the whole system of government rests on the people's choice. When we go to the polls, when we elect them, and yes, when we suffer their governance, it's all because we give them that power. And they are in power simply because we allow them to
Yes.
take power.
So-
the least that they can do for us is listen.
Yes, attorney. So, you are a student of history, yeah? You are a student of history, and I strive to be one as well. So, what happens to an administration that turns a deaf ear on its people? Kasi mukhang ayaw nila ng batikos, mukhang bawal yon, no? Mukha bang may papayag dito? Wala namang papayag doon kasi demokrasya tayo, no? So, what will happen to an administration where they do not listen to the people?
Diba, we mentioned earlier on that the freedom of speech acts as a pressure valve. Without that pressure valve,
Yes.
if you oppress or you suppress the freedom of speech, pressures build up. And what happens at the end of that? But there is social unrest. We're lucky if it's just unrest.
Yeah.
But then eventually these things could zoom towards something else. And we know we are, we are no strangers to changes in government. We've had in the past, 40 years, we've had two. And the beginnings of our government come from a revolution. A revolution also brought about by increasing societal pressures. So we should take a page from previous rulers, those who have turned a deaf ear, particularly to concerns about lifestyle.
Correct.
Diba?
Yes,
Hindi,
yes.
it's not something that we should treat frivolously. The removal of two presidents were due to what people would see as excesses in lifestyle. So maybe it would be a good idea for any leader to remember this.
Yeah, correct. Klaro. Attorney Trixie, before pa ako magpapatuloy, ipapasa muna kita kay Brother Franco. Very good points that you raised. Political authority can only become strong if it is founded on moral ascendancy where people put trust and confidence.
Yes, sa akin naman po, Attorney Trixie, ay may katanungan tayo mula sa ating mga netizens. Isa lang dito po is mula kay Boy George. Ito po, ano na po ba ang direction ngayon ng communications team ng current administration ng bagong Pilipinas?
Yes, Attorney Trixie, would you like to comment?
Ano po ang kanilang direction?
Kasi hindi marinig ang presidente, mabuti na nandun ka. You are regularly updating the nation, the public. Now, wala kaming nararamdaman ng taong bayan ng tamang direksyon o tamang paghahayag sa mga mahalagang usapin na nagkakagulo na sa politika at pati sa ating kalagayang pang-ekonomiya, Attorney Trixie.
The unusual thing is, yung regular press briefings at saka yung the way we handled communications before was a policy set by this president. Na yung 2 to 3 times na press briefings pag disasters, within 2 hours the media must be informed and the people must be informed of what is going on. When there is an issue, within so many hours, ina-address na dapat yan. Even if it is to say, we're looking into this, you must address it. Tell them that government is on the ball, we are doing something. It wasn't perfect, but at least we would be responsive. And it was the president himself who dictated that. The second policy was that government must speak with one voice. And so that we would look to the leader, Mr. President, these are the issues coming that are at the forefront today. So which ones do we address immediately and which ones are still under investigation? Then he would point that out. So this was regular. We are not seeing that today. Wala yan ngayon.
That's correct.
Ang masakit niyan is merong this huge, this lavish, I'm sorry to use the word, I don't like adjectives, but there's no way to express this lavish launch of Bagong Pilipinas,
Yeah, lavish
which it
talaga.
was touted to be a branding campaign. Seriously, why does government need a branding campaign? Government is government. We are complete in the branding. We have the symbol, we have the national anthem, we have the flag, we have the seals of the various offices. Why do we need brands? Why do we need new logos?
Tama.
Why do we need videos? Seriously. And then what's the need to declare to the people that we now have a Philippine Development Plan, which, by the way, was already launched last year.
Correct.
So what's that all about? Even in articulating his speech that they are now moving towards a new Philippines, he did not explain how we get from this point to the new Philippines. But he also did not explain why it took a year for the Philippine Development Plan to finally be a part
Isang
of
taon.
the government.
Tama.
It's not part of the plans. Remember that Bagong Pilipinas was launched after the budget had been passed. Which means whatever is in the Philippine Development Plan, once again, may not have made it completely into next year's budget,
Tama.
into this year's budget.
Klaro.
Diba? Hindi na binigyan ng importansya yan. Binigyan nila ng launch. So anong sinasabi nito? Ito pa, ni-require nila
Ito pa, ang laki-laki ng budget taon-taon pero wala kang nakikita kung anong mga malalaking proyekto this administration. O saan yung mga pera na ang laki-laki ng mga budget napunta lang sa malalim ng bulsa. ano na ba yan?
Government, mga kawani ng gobyerno na umattend. Pakasayang sa oras. Siyempre, babayaran mo yun. OT yan.
Yeah.
Hindi naman yan yung regular hours ng ating mga kawani.
Attorney
Tapos
Trixie,
may pang...
excuse me kasi ginawang mandatory. But we have to ask you, Attorney Trixie, no? Maliban doon sa magandang pagpupuna mo sa rebranding na very unnecessary, lavishly, scandalously unnecessary, pinunduhan ng pondo ng kabanang bayan, may gusto kaming i-direktang tanong po sa inyo, Attorney Trixie, sapagkat una po, bago kayo makilala bilang isang social media personality and social media influencer, kayo po ay abogado by profession and by training. Attorney Trixie,
Yes.
very obvious na ang NTC or National Telecommunications Commission, ang MTRCB, ay gumawa ng mga lagpas sa kanilang kapangyarihan at mandato na mga akto equivalent to direct and scandalous oppressive acts of abuse of power. And yet, these are agencies of government which are under the office of the President. Attorney Trixie, ang tinutumbok natin dito, ang independent suspension, ang questionable na paulit-ulit na pag-suspend, pagpuna, na ang pressure point na kanilang binabanggit ay nanggagaling sa House of Representatives. Hindi po man lamang nagpahayag ang Pangulo ng Bansa or even ang kanyang mga cabinet secretaries to clarify if this is also the policy of the President involving the two agencies under his office, MTRCB and NTC. Bilang abogado at mamamahayag, your reaction to those scandalous abuse and overreach of power ng mga ahensyang ito, Attorney Trixie.
Number one was, one of the guarantees din ng ating saligang batas ay yung karapatan natin to due process. Ibig sabihin, di ba, no person may be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law.
Correct.
And a franchise is property.
Yes.
So, once na-grant yan, bago yan tanggalin, kailangan may proseso. At sinasabi ng saligang batas, due process. Meaning, it is owed to us. It is owed because there's a guarantee sa saligang batas at nakadefine pa rin sa batas kung ano yung mga proseso na yon.
Tama.
Isa dun sa mga requirements ng due process is a fair and impartial judge.
Tama.
So, nasaan yung fairness and impartiality kapag ang mga ahensya nagre-react lamang sa rekomendasyon ng lehislatura, ng Kongreso, tapos hindi na sila nakikinig sa ebidensya.
Yun.
Hindi na sila nagbibigay ng nararapat na proseso at saka ang bilis, lalong-lalo na ang NTC. Medyo kinabahan ako. Kasi dito nakikita ninyo na pwede pala yung preventive suspension na wala ding hearing.
Tama.
Kasi kahit ang suspension ay preventive, and oh by the way, nangyayari usually ang preventive suspension sa mga administrative cases sa mga kawani ng gobyerno para malayo sila sa ebidensya, hindi sila mag-tamper with witnesses.
Tama.
Dito, iniisip ko, siguro preventive suspension because they're preventing further damage. Pero even a preventive suspension requires a hearing. Dito, preventive suspension,
Summary.
tapos hearing. Saan po ang due process doon?
Tama.
So,
Diba? Although preventive suspension is not penal in nature, it appears to be penal here. Kasi galit na sila eh. Hindi, nararamdaman mo. Where is the fair and impartial judge kung galit kayo? But lipat nyo sa ibang tao, wag kayo.
Correct.
And then, huwag nyo unahin yung suspension. Kasi yung preventive suspension in a case for franchises
Yeah.
causes immediate damage. If ito ay nasa hukuman, administrative ito eh. Kung ito nasa hukuman, hihingi yung hukuman ng ban.
Correct.
Para
attorney,
bigyan
am I correct? I think that our country is in grave peril because the very ones who are supposed to uphold the law are themselves the violators of the law. In other words,
Yes, sir.
itong ginagawa ngayon, yung paglabag ng batas natin ay with impunity, garapalan. Am I correct?
Yes, at the very least, they are the people we look to
Yes.
regulate the industry, di ba?
Yes.
We are the people, we look to them to be fair, to be impartial. Kapag nawala yung impartiality na yon, who do we trust?
Wala na.
Who will the people go to?
Yeah.
Sila nga yung inatasan yan dahil sila yung dapat
Attorney,
Tama.
Yeah, attorney, may I please read, may I just please read the letter of the PMAers, the one that they wrote in
Noong
defense
December?
of me and Eric,
Yeah,
why
last
we were, and then I'd like you to comment on this. Okay, sabi nila, the sacrosanct rights are under attack. We sound the alarm that the freedoms of speech and press, the very lifeblood of our democracy, are under siege. When protectors of truth are persecuted for invoking their legal rights, it is a clarion call for all defenders of liberty to stand in opposition. And it is unwavering support for press freedom. We steadfastly support the full implementation of RA 1148. Any attempt to undermine this law is an attack on the very foundations of our democratic society.
Yes, Attorney Trixie, your reaction to that very categorical position ng ating mga patriotic leaders mula sa security sector who graduated from the PMA last December. Ang ilang statement nito.
Aware kasi sila na may guarantee dito sa ating saligang batas that the AFP is the protector of the people and of the state. Kung ang mga nagsulat man are active or not active duty, they at least remember this. Ibig sabihin, pag umabot na dun sa punto na ang taong bayan ay namemeligro sa estado mismo o sa gobyerno na nagre-representa ng estado, obligasyon ng ating armed forces na protektahan ang tao muna.
Yun.
Norm, 'di ba? Ang security sector, as you call it, the AFP is the president, 'di ba? Is the head, the commander in chief. And under him are the armed forces. At inherent sa ating saligang batas ang karapatan ng estado to protect itself.
Yeah.
Pero ang saligang batas natin may garantiya. Kahit na namemeligro yung estado, kung ang danger from the state is directed at the people, the AFP must stand to protect the people.
Yeah, that is the unique provision in the Constitution that you pointed out, Attorney Trixie, na ginagarantiyan na ang sovereign protection of the people must be guaranteed by the armed forces. At yan ay dahil may tendency na gamitin ang kapangyarihan at aparatos ng Estado na labagin at abusuhin ang mamamayan. And in between of that, the security sector, the armed forces, must be on the side of the people, on the side of the law, on the side of the Constitution. Tama po ba, Attorney Trixie?
Correct. May garantiya din at may exhortation, kumbaga, ang ating saligang batas that the AFP must uphold the Constitution.
Ayun.
And therefore, yung constitutional guarantee to protect the people is also something they must always remember.
Ayun.
So kung aabot tayo sa punto
Very
na ang more of our, I'm saying more because a lot of our rights are already in danger. Pag more of our rights are in danger and the actual security of the people are now under peril, then they should remember that they have to uphold the Constitution, which guarantees that they must protect the people.
Klaro.
Yan.
Attorney Trixie.
Yan.
you.
Magaling.
Attorney, muli at napakaganda po ng inyong pag-explain at especially kung gaano po ka-importante na unahin natin ang mamamayang Pilipino sa lahat ng o politiko man o even ang katayuan po ng ating Armed Forces of the Philippines ay talaga naman po nabigyan niyo po ng linaw sa programang ito. Gusto pa man po namin kayo makasama pa, Attorney Trixie, pero sana po sa uulitin po next week or the next day.
She can always be part of
yes.
Laban Kasamang Bayan Resource Persons.
Yan. Muli maraming
And
salamat.
we like your, Attorney Trixie, we like what you have pointed out.